Property investment. Do you want your share? Well, the most important thing to understand is how equity works. Michael Carabas is mortgage advisor, and today I want to explain a little bit more about how equity works. Well, most people understand that equity is the value of a place minus whatever debt you have left. So if you have a $500,000 house, if you have no mortgage on it whatsoever, you've got $500,000 of value in the place, equity. Okay, so if you were to sell it tomorrow, you'd have $500,000. Now that's the most basic understanding of it. But what if you want to keep your place? What if you want to use the leverage, use the equity in that place to be able to leverage yourself to get more investment properties? Well, that's what I want to show you today. It's a pretty important thing to think about when it comes to investment property, and it's the secret to how they all do it and how they've got themselves lots. And when you've got lots, this happens even faster. So here's a quick example for you, and hopefully this gives you some better understandings. So, you've got a place worth $500,000. We've got this as the value. The value is the purchase price, the government or rateable valuation, or even the registered valuation, which is one you buy. Let's just, for the example, say the value of the place is $500,000. This needs to be a bank determined value for this. So that's where you are at the moment. Down here, $0. So $0 is the ground bottom. Everything in this gap here is your usable property value. Okay, you've got $500,000. If you were to sell it tomorrow, you've got that. But let's say you've got a mortgage at the moment. You've got a mortgage of $400,000. Mortgage, $400K. Okay, so what happens in this scenario? Well, the banks have a limit inside the bank. They call it the loan to value ratio, or the LVR. I'm sure you've heard of it a bit. Well, the LVR, the loan to value ratio, is the loan versus the value ratio. So in this case, $400,000 is 80% of $500,000. So that's pretty important to note, because each property, a bank has a loan to value limit. So they'll say, right, against your place, Mr. and Mrs., what you're able to do is take out 80% against that property's value, because that's all we'll give you in lending. So in this scenario, you can't have any of this from what the bank's going to give you. You'd have to sell it to get the $100,000 out of here. But if you want to be able to pull that money out for next places, well, let's see how that works. So what happens in this scenario is, say you've renovated the place, or you've had it for a few years, or done both, and property values have gone up a bit. So property value's gone up, you're now worth $550K. Oh, okay. $550K, and you've been diligently paying off your mortgage, so now you're down to $300,000. It's been a few years. Nice and easy to think about, nice round numbers. So at 80% again, the bank says, right, you can go back to 80%. 80% is your number against your property. So what happens here is your wall now sits here. This is 80%. So what happens with 80% is that's $440K now. So before you were at 400,000 was your 80% limit, now it's gone up. And what happens is now this becomes the gap that you can pull out as cash. The bank will give you that gap as a loan for cars, for other property, for holidays, for things like that. Now in this scenario, we want to be using it for other properties. So this gap becomes $140,000. So what you'll do there is you'll start pulling that out as a loan, so it's cash, a loan, that you can put onto another property. So if we look at this other property separately, we buy another place over here, value $500K. Same thing again. Oh. 500,000, sorry, I write like a 10-year-old. 500K. What we do there is we look at it and we go, well, now I need some deposit. I need, this property might say have another 20% deposit, so I have to find 100,000 from somewhere. Well, that 100,000 comes from the loan over here. So what you said, you've got 140K here, 140K, that's your little gap there that the bank will give you. You ask for that, please, to buy that property. So all of a sudden, you've got yourself over here at a 360K mortgage. 360K mortgage. And this part here has come from over here. So effectively, you haven't had to save, you haven't done anything else for it. This has come from over there. And down here is your zero again, $0. and you've got your mortgage there. Now when you've got this with the same bank, they don't technically have to give you this in cash. It sort of works between them because they'll look at the value of the two and say, right, we're pulling that 140 over here, so this one here becomes an 100% lend. So they've given you all the 500k loan over here, which is the same as 300 plus 140, which is the same as 360 plus 140. So when they put the 360 and the 140 loan together, you've got a 100% purchase price over here. So that's how it works within the same bank. Or if you look at it, if you took it to separate banks, same sort of thing would happen because you're taking the cash over, but overall you've got two properties now up to your 80% because your mortgage over here would either be going up or you'd be pulling the money over there. Hopefully that helps you understand a little bit more. But now the most important thing, and I am trying to get through this fast for you so you don't get too bored. If each of you if you've got properties, lots of them, now imagine you've got a whole lot of them and all of them are going up in value and all of the mortgages are going down. Then all of a sudden your 80% limit is just going to keep growing and that gap between is going to keep going. So if you imagine all your properties increase by $10,000 and 80% is at 8 grand. So if all of a sudden you've got 10 properties, each one's gone up by 8 grand, which means you've got $80,000 of extra. So a 10 grand growth hasn't actually seemed like it's that much, but it is when you've got a lot of properties. Now you can pull that 80,000 out and go buy more properties. Now in New Zealand at the moment, there's a whole bunch of different loan to value ratio rules. It's best if you figure out and have a chat with me. I'm 100% free for everything I do, so I really want to help you get through this. Now I'm an investor myself, I'm used to doing this, and this might seem confusing. I'd love to work out some personal situations for you and how it can work, but until then, get in touch, let's have a chat, and good luck on the property hunt. I believe in you.